They told you nuts are healthy, and in many cases, they are. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to say out loud. After age 60, some of the most popular nuts in your kitchen might be silently harming you. They could be disrupting your blood pressure, clouding your memory, weakening your kidneys, and yes, even killing your performance in the bedroom. And the worst part? Most seniors eat these nuts every single day, thinking they're doing something good for their health. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, and for over 30 years, I've helped older men and women reclaim their energy, clarity, and vitality without prescriptions or gimmicks. And again, I've seen how food can either give you life or quietly steal it away. What if I told you there are 4 specific nuts that support circulation, enhance brain function, regulate blood sugar, and even improve your sleep? And yet, almost no one over 60 is eating them regularly. At the same time, there are 4 other nuts widely marketed as healthy that are actually inflaming your body, interfering with medications, and putting your heart at serious risk. You deserve to know the difference. In this video, I'll walk you through all 8, the 4 nuts you should eat daily, and the 4 you should never touch again. Science-backed, senior-specific, easy to remember, and near the end, I'll reveal the most dangerous nut of all, one linked to memory loss and liver damage that might be sitting in your pantry right now. Before we dive in, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another health lesson made just for seniors. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and let me know how I can better serve you. Now, let's begin with the 4 powerhouse nuts you should be eating every day. They're more than snacks. They're medicine. 1. Brazil nuts, the thyroid and testosterone booster. I'll never forget a patient of mine, a retired firefighter in his late 60s. Let's call him Jack. Jack came to me feeling exhausted, mentally foggy, and deeply frustrated. Nothing he tried, powders, pills, or diets, brought back the spark he used to have. We ran a full lab panel. The culprit? Severely low selenium, a mineral most men over 60 don't think about, but one that plays a massive role in energy, hormone balance, and brain function. I gave Jack a simple prescription. Eat 1 Brazil nut per day, just 1. No pills, no gimmicks. 3 weeks later, he walked into my office with color in his face, a twinkle in his eye, and said, "Doc, I don't know what's in that nut, but I feel alive again." Brazil nuts are the richest natural source of selenium on Earth. Just 1 nut gives you more than 130% of your daily selenium needs, in a form your body can actually absorb and use. Why does that matter? Selenium helps activate thyroid hormones, which control your metabolism, energy, mood, and memory, and it plays a direct role in testosterone production, the key hormone that fuels your strength, sleep, motivation, and mental sharpness. Brazil nuts also help protect your nervous system. The healthy fats inside support your myelin sheath, the insulation around your nerves that keeps your reflexes sharp and your movements smooth. But remember, more is not better. Too much selenium can be toxic. That's why I recommend just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts per day. Keep them in the fridge, ideally in the shell, and chew them thoroughly. It's a small habit with a powerful payoff, just like Jack discovered. 2. Almonds, the bone and brain defender. There's something comforting about almonds, the crunch, the warmth, the familiarity. My father used to eat a small handful every morning with his tea. "These little things are keeping me sharp, son," he'd say. Back then, I didn't get it. Now, I do. Almonds are one of the most underrated tools for protecting your bones and brain after 60. As we age, bone density drops. Falls become dangerous, fractures take longer to heal, and the risk of osteoporosis rises. Almonds are rich in calcium and magnesium, two minerals that work together to strengthen your bones and prevent calcium from hardening your arteries. But almonds also feed your brain. Their brown skin is packed with flavonoids and vitamin E, which protect your brain from oxidative stress, a major driver of memory loss and cognitive decline. Studies even show almonds may slow the progression of dementia when eaten regularly. They're also high in fiber, which supports healthy digestion and relieves constipation, a quiet but common struggle among older adults. My recommendation: eat 15 to 20 raw or dry roasted, unsalted almonds a day. Chew them well, especially if you have dental or swallowing issues. This small ritual helps protect your balance, your memory, and your independence. 3. Walnuts, the brain's favorite food. Years ago, I visited a patient named Harold, a retired music teacher in his 70s, recently widowed and struggling with memory. During our visit, he held up a jar of walnuts and said, "They look like a brain. I figured they're good for the brain." He was absolutely right. Walnuts are one of the most powerful brain-supporting foods nature has to offer. They're rich in ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fat that helps preserve the structure of brain cells and improve communication between neurons. As we age, this process slows, but walnuts help keep your mental engine running. They also contain polyphenols, which reduce inflammation in brain tissue, the kind of inflammation linked to Alzheimer's, dementia, and brain fog. And here's what most people don't know: walnuts are a natural source of melatonin, the sleep regulating hormone that declines as we age. A small handful in the evening may help you fall asleep faster and wake up more refreshed. I recommend 7 to 9 walnut halves per day, kept refrigerated to preserve their delicate oils. Eat them with the skin. That slight bitterness, it's where the antioxidants live. Harold still eats his walnuts daily, and while he still misses his wife, he tells me his memory is sharper, and he feels more like himself again. 4. Pistachios, the unsung hero for blood pressure, vision, and blood sugar. Growing up, my grandfather would sit in his chair every afternoon with a wooden bowl of pistachios. Back then, I just thought it was a snack. Now I realize it was medicine. Pistachios are a powerhouse for cardiovascular health, eye protection, and blood sugar control, three major concerns for men over 60, the most underrated superfood for seniors. Pistachios are often overlooked in favor of flashier superfoods, but what they lack in fame, they more than make up for in function, especially for those over 60. To begin with, pistachios are one of the most potassium-rich nuts available, offering around 285 milligrams per serving, more than many fruits and vegetables. And for older adults, potassium is critical. It helps regulate blood pressure, especially as arteries stiffen and salt sensitivity increases with age. For seniors looking to manage hypertension naturally, pistachios are a smart, safe daily ally. But they offer more than just heart support. Pistachios are also rich in two key carotenoids, lutein and zeaxanthin, which play a vital role in eye health. These nutrients accumulate in the retina, filtering harmful blue light and helping to slow the progression of age-related macular degeneration. That's no small benefit. Vision loss is one of the most feared health issues among seniors, and perhaps most importantly, pistachios are excellent for blood sugar regulation. With around 3 grams of fiber per ounce and a naturally low glycemic index, they help slow digestion, reduce post-meal sugar spikes, and keep insulin levels stable. For the millions of older adults managing diabetes or prediabetes, a handful of pistachios can make a meaningful difference, especially when they replace sugary or processed snacks. There's also a behavioral advantage. When you eat pistachios in the shell, the process of cracking them slows you down. This gives your body more time to register fullness, helping prevent overeating. Plus, the pile of empty shells acts as a visual cue, so you stay mindful without counting calories or measuring portions. I typically recommend 1 ounce per day, about 49 pistachios. Choose unsalted or lightly salted varieties, and if you have arthritis or hand weakness, look for naturally half-opened shells to make snacking easier. Pistachios are a rare combination of nutrient density, flavor, and therapeutic value. They support your heart, eyes, blood sugar, and your sense of control over your health. But not all nuts are safe. While these 4 nuts, Brazil nuts, almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, can elevate your health after 60, others can quietly tear it down. Some nuts may look innocent, even healthy, but they're inflaming your body, raising blood pressure, interfering with medications, and contributing to brain fog. You deserve to know the truth. Let's start with one of the worst offenders. 1. Peanuts, the inflammation time bomb. I'll never forget George, a proud 72-year-old Vietnam vet who stayed active and fit. But one day, he came into my office with aching joints, constant fatigue, and rising blood pressure. His lifestyle hadn't changed much, except for one detail. He was snacking on peanuts daily. "They're healthy, right?" he asked. "Not exactly. Peanuts aren't actually nuts. They're legumes, and that one detail makes a big difference. Because they grow underground, peanuts are highly prone to mold contamination, specifically aflatoxin, a dangerous invisible toxin linked to liver damage, weakened immunity, and even certain cancers. Seniors are especially vulnerable because the body's natural detox systems slow with age. But that's not all. Even in people without allergies, peanuts can trigger chronic inflammation, affecting joints, heart, and brain. This subtle inflammation may not be obvious at first, but over time, it contributes to arthritis, fatigue, and cognitive decline. And most commercial peanuts are roasted and heavily salted, a problem for the 60% plus of seniors managing high blood pressure. Add in the hydrogenated oils and added sugars found in many peanut butters, and it turns a seemingly healthy snack into a daily health hazard. Even natural peanut butter isn't without concern. Peanuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which can throw off your body's balance of omega-3 to omega-6, a key factor in inflammation and circulation. If you're taking medications like blood thinners, peanuts also contain compounds that can interfere with vitamin K absorption, complicating your medication management. I'm not saying the occasional peanut will hurt you, but if you're over 60 and eating them regularly, it's time to rethink the habit. There are safer, more supportive options out there, like almonds and walnuts, that offer the same crunch without the hidden dangers. 2. Cashews, the blood sugar and kidney stone trap. Then there was Linda, 70 years old, warm-hearted, loved to bake for her grandkids. She came to me complaining of fatigue, bloating, and rising blood sugar. As we reviewed her diet, one food kept showing up: cashews, in snacks, in smoothies, in healthy granola bars. "They're good for you, right?" she asked. Cashews may seem harmless, even healthy, but for seniors, they carry a surprising set of risks. First, they're higher in carbohydrates than most nuts, around 9 grams per ounce, and they have a notable glycemic impact, meaning they can cause blood sugar to spike. For older adults with diabetes or prediabetes, this adds up fast. They're also loaded with oxalates, compounds that bind to calcium in your gut, reducing absorption and increasing the risk of kidney stones. For seniors at higher risk of osteoporosis, that's a dangerous combination. Cashews are also a choking hazard, especially for older adults with swallowing difficulties. Their smooth, curved shape makes them one of the top nuts involved in choking incidents. And here's what most people don't know: Raw cashews are toxic. They must be heavily processed to remove a compound called urushiol, the same chemical found in poison ivy. This processing strips away many of their nutrients, leaving behind a nut that's all flavor and very little function. If you're over 60, swap cashews for something safer, like pistachios or almonds, that offer true, reliable health benefits. 3. Macadamia nuts, the silent weight gainer. Carl, a retired engineer in his late 60s, came to me puzzled. He wasn't eating junk food, wasn't overeating, yet he'd gained weight, felt sluggish, and noticed his blood pressure creeping up. I treat myself to a few macadamia nuts each night, he said. They're supposed to be heart healthy, right? Here's the truth. Macadamia nuts are delicious, but they're extremely calorie dense. Just 1 ounce contains nearly 200 calories and 22 grams of fat. For older adults with slower metabolisms and reduced activity levels, that adds up fast. It's what I call silent weight gain. No sugar, no overeating, just a slow calorie overload that sneaks up over weeks and months. Macadamias are also high in saturated fat, around 3 grams per ounce, which can raise LDL cholesterol and strain your heart, especially if you're already managing blood pressure or cholesterol concerns. They may taste luxurious, but for seniors, macadamias can quietly undermine your health, despite the heart-healthy marketing. Macadamia nuts, the hidden risks behind the luxury. Many older adults have gallstones and don't even know it. They might feel occasional bloating or mild discomfort after meals, nothing alarming. But macadamia nuts, due to their extremely high fat content, can trigger those stones to move, sometimes causing severe pain, emergency room visits, or even surgery. I've seen it happen more than once, and in nearly every case, the person had no idea the problem was slowly building inside them. And that's not the only concern. Macadamia nuts are dense and hard, a serious issue for seniors with bridges, crowns, or sensitive teeth. I've had patients crack dental work on these nuts, leading to expensive and painful dental repairs. It's a hidden cost people rarely consider. I always tell my patients this. Macadamia nuts may feel like a harmless indulgence, but they often carry a hidden price, one that builds quietly and stays for the long haul. There are better options, snacks that satisfy without weighing you down. But while macadamias might slow you down physically, the next nut on our list is far more concerning. It's tiny, oily, often slips under the radar, and yet it can interfere with your medications, distort your sense of taste, and even cause unwanted weight loss. Let's talk about it. 4. Pine nuts, the medication disruptor. Several years ago, I had a patient named Ruth. She was 74, thoughtful, and meticulous about her health. She tracked her medications, walked daily, and loved trying new recipes. At first, we looked at hydration, digestion, medication interactions, but nothing stood out. Then she mentioned a new habit. She'd been making homemade pesto, loaded with pine nuts, and that's when everything clicked. Ruth was experiencing something called pine mouth, a bitter, metallic taste that can last for days or even weeks after eating certain pine nuts. It's not dangerous by itself, but here's the real concern. When food and water suddenly taste bad, many seniors eat and drink less without realizing it, and that can quickly lead to unintentional weight loss, dehydration, and even hospitalizations, especially in those already vulnerable. Taste matters more than people realize, especially in later life. But pine mouth is only one issue. Pine nuts also contain compounds that can interfere with how medications are metabolized in the liver, including drugs for blood pressure, cholesterol, and mood, some of the most common prescriptions for seniors. This can lead to reduced effectiveness or unexpected side effects, and most people are never warned because this interaction is still poorly understood. On top of that, pine nuts are high in unstable polyunsaturated fats, which oxidize easily, especially when they've been stored too long. And when oxidized, these fats promote inflammation rather than reduce it. For anyone dealing with arthritis, joint pain, or metabolic issues, that's a serious concern. And because pine nuts are often hidden in sauces or baked into foods, you may not even realize you're eating them. Lastly, and this is important, pine nuts pose a choking risk, especially for seniors with dry mouth, a common side effect of medications, or weakened swallowing reflexes. Small and slippery, they can be inhaled accidentally, making them a real hazard. For all these reasons, I strongly advise seniors to avoid pine nuts altogether. There are better, safer options that provide flavor and healthy fats without these risks. Your final doctor's message: it's never too late to reclaim your health. After decades of working with patients in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, I've learned something powerful. Aging doesn't break us down. It's the little daily habits, repeated over time, that either build us up or quietly wear us down. And food, even something as small as a handful of nuts, is often at the center of that story. Today, we covered 8 nuts. 4 you should eat daily: Brazil nuts, almonds, walnuts, and pistachios. Not because they're trendy, but because they work. They support your thyroid, testosterone, brain, bones, sleep, heart health, and confidence. And 4 to avoid: peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and pine nuts, because they quietly do the opposite. They contribute to inflammation, blood sugar spikes, weight changes, and dangerous medication interactions. The truth is, what once worked in your 40s may now work against you in your 60s. What once gave you energy may now leave you foggy. And what once felt harmless may now be holding you back. But I want to say this to you, clearly and directly: you are not broken. You are not too old. Your health is not a lost cause. The body you wake up in still listens. It still changes, sometimes in miraculous ways, when you give it the right fuel. I've seen it in the man who swapped peanuts for pistachios and brought his blood pressure down without adding a single pill. The woman who ate 1 Brazil nut a day and finally got her energy back. The couple who began snacking on walnuts at night and slept soundly for the first time in months. These aren't miracles. This is biology. Your body doing what it's designed to do when you give it what it needs. So, as you walk into your kitchen tomorrow or past that snack aisle later this week, pause. Think back to what you've learned here. Make one choice, just one, and stick with it. Because this isn't just about numbers on a chart. It's about remembering names, walking with confidence, laughing without worry, and living fully, mentally, emotionally, and yes, even intimately. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, and I want you to remember, you're not too old to feel strong again. You're not too far gone to reclaim your energy, your clarity, your confidence. You just need to feed the body that still wants to fight for you. Start with the nuts. Let that be your first signal to yourself that you're ready to thrive again.